Got one right here.
Good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Show City Council to order. By roll call, see that all council members are present at this time. I'd like to also welcome those that are here tonight from the public, as well as those who may be watching on City 56 or some other communication device this evening. We'd like to begin with an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. We've asked, I'll give the invocation followed by the pledge of allegiance. We've asked Councilwoman Kakavas if she'll lead us in the pledge. Those who'd like to join with us in prayer and the pledge, please stand. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the privilege we have of meeting tonight here in this favorable situation and for this beautiful mountain. We're grateful for our community and for our citizens and for those people who serve. Father, we ask thee that we might be able to deliberate the items that we have this evening. We might be able to use the best judgment and be able to do things according to thy will. We're grateful for thy protection and the moisture that we've received and for the wonderful weekend we had with Sholo Days and the people who were here for the many activities on this mountain. Wilt thou bless those who participated as well as those who gave their time. Heavenly Father, we love thee and we give thee thanks for the many beautiful things we have, and these things we say in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item we have tonight is a consent calendar. Is there any items that need to be pulled or reviewed on the consent calendar? I'll read those items. We have an agreement, Paradise Acres, a development agreement with Fox Canyon Builders of completion of a sewer line, consideration of a vacancy, unnecessary public right-of-way in Paradise Acres, and a consideration of approval of list of city-owned vehicles as exempt vehicles from registration requirements. And then we have the minutes of the study session of May 10th and the joint regular study session of May 16th and the regular meeting of May 16th. Look for a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Kakavas. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that passed 7-0. Hey, we're just going to bypass call to the public tonight, okay? I'll go back to that. I'm sorry. I'd like to go to call to the public. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that's within the jurisdiction of the city may do so at this time. That's why we skipped it. Seeing nobody move forward, we'll close call to the public and come back to our next item on the agenda. Sorry about that. Next item we have is item 7A, which is a public hearing for consideration of an application submitted by Dentai on behalf of Lacano's Mexican Food and Steakhouse for a person transfer of a number 6 bar and liquor license. Turn the time to Ms. Kurosaki at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Tin Tai, who represents Lacano's Mexican Food and Steakhouse, submitted a person transfer application for a number 6 bar liquor license for the location at 571 West Joseph Clubs. Lacano's has an existing liquor license, but the request would transfer the current license from Richard Walpole to Mr. Tai. The property was posted as required by law and no public input was received. As part of the application, he also applied for an interim permit, which allows him to continue selling alcohol while the number 6 application is being processed, and the permit is valid for 105 days. If the application has not been approved before the 105-day term, it will be the applicant's responsibility to request a second interim permit. We had the Sholo Police Department conduct a background check on the applicant. They found nothing amiss that would prevent the council from approving the application. In addition, the Department of Liquor Licenses and Control will also conduct its own internal investigation and background check. Based on the investigator's findings and the recommendation of the council, the State Liquor Board will have the final say on whether to approve or deny the application. And if the council chooses to recommend denial, you must state the reasons for denial. If you have any questions of the applicant, Mr. Tai is here in the audience.
Okay, thank you. This time I'll open the public hearing. If anybody has any comments or wish to speak on this matter? Seeing nobody moved, I'll close call to the public and bring it back to council for any questions or a motion. Councilmember Crittenden?
I move to recommend approval to the State Liquor Board of the application submitted by Den Tai on behalf of Lacano's Mexican Food and Steakhouse for a person transfer of a number 6 bar liquor license for its location at 571 West Dusa Clubs, Sholo, Arizona.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Leach. Any other discussion? Councilmember Leach.
I just wish I had a question so Ty can come up here because I like him when he blushes, but I don't really have a question, Ty, sorry. I've been trying to think of a question for you, but I just can't do it, so.
Thank you, Richard. Oh, John, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. Thank you. Next item we have is item 7C, consideration of applications submitted by Allison Hefner on behalf of the El Dorado Girls for a special event liquor license for a hangar dance on August 5th, 2017 at the Sholo Regional Airport. Ms. Kurosaki.
Thank you, Mayor. Allison Hefner, who represents the El Dorado Girls, submitted an application for a special event liquor license for the hangar dance on August 5 from 4 to 10 p.m., which will be held in Hangar 1 at the Sholo Regional Airport. This application is to allow the sale of alcohol during the dinner and dance within the 90-foot by 90-foot enclosed hangar. The alcohol will be sold and consumed within the hangar only. There will be 3 sheriff's auxiliary members ensuring that no alcohol enters or leaves the premises. 1 deputy will be stationed at the personnel door facing Airport Loop Road. 2 other deputies will be posted at each end of the hangar door, which covers the length of the hangar. The 4th deputy will patrol the premises and relieve any of the other 3 as needed. The Sholo Police Department performed a background check on the applicant, found nothing that would preclude approval of this special event license. The application and action taken by the council tonight will be forwarded to the Department of Liquor Licenses and Control, but again, I just wanted to say that unlike regular liquor licenses, the council's decision in this case is final for this type of application. The applicant is available here in the audience for questions, should you have any.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'll look for a motion. Councilmember Leach.
I move to approve the application submitted by Allison Nicole Hepner for a special event liquor license for a hangar dance on August 5th at just Sholo Regional Airport.
You have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Alsop. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 6-1. Thank you. Next item we have is consideration of award of a construction contract for Sholo Lake restrooms, City of Sholo Project PR-0117. Mr. Cup.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The city's fiscal year 2017 capital improvements program budget included $60,000 for constructing a public restroom at the Sholo Lake Campground. The restroom building will have separate men's and women's restrooms and will replace a vaulted toilet. Staff solicited proposals from builders. The request for proposals, RFP, included sketches for a concrete masonry unit, CMU building with a standing seam metal roof similar to other restrooms at city parks. The RFP allowed for other building types, prefabricated concrete, for example, to be considered. Final plans will be provided by the selected contractor. The contractor will also be responsible for obtaining a no-cost permit for the project. City personnel have extended water, sewer, and power utilities to the building location. The project was publicly advertised and 4 proposals were received. Since these were proposals and not hard bids, other factors besides cost were considered, including value to the city and adherence to the preliminary drawings. All of the proposals, except for the Sutherland proposal, significantly exceeded the available budget. Sutherland Construction's proposal was to site build a CMU building. Staff feels that in addition to being the lowest cost, The site building will benefit the city by providing locally hired labor to do the work. In order to deliver the project within budget, the scope was revised to provide a single men's and a single women's laboratory. The proposed cost of the restroom building is $43,878.71, plus an added $3,000 for contingency, which brings the total cost to $46,878.71. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the Shoal Low Lake restrooms, City of Shoal Low project number PR 0117 to Sutherland Construction Company, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $46,878.71. Be happy to answer any questions.
Have any questions, comments? Councilmember Alsop.
Thank you, Mayor. Question, Bill, that I have, how many restrooms do we have in all the campsites and everything else there? Is this gonna be like the second or third one in there?
There are currently three pit toilets, or vaulted toilets, that sounds a little bit nicer, at the park. One of them, hopefully with some remaining budget, we'll probably demolish one of them. So we will still have a total of three, and then Game and Fish just built that new restroom facility across Shoal Low Lake Road there on the Game and Fish property. So 4 altogether, but 3 in the campground.
And have we increased that size of the campgrounds then? In the last little while? Because it looks like we've been doing some more construction in there than just getting water.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, we extended the sewer through there and we extended some water lines in there, but we really haven't added any camping spaces.
I just noticed here on his proposal, he says that does not include any finish of flooring or any type to be installed on the concrete flooring. If we stay with concrete, hope would just specify that be a real slick, finish so that it can clean up nice and, seal it off well and, maybe saw cut it and a few things there.
Yeah, it will be, it'll have a sealer finish on it. However, that's something we're gonna have to maintain as well, so we'll have to reseal occasionally.
Councilmember Alsop.
If there's no, I'll go ahead and make a motion. I move to award a construction contract to the Shoal Low Lake restrooms, City of Shoal Low Project project number PR 0117 to Southern Construction Company, Inc., in amount not to exceed $46,878.71.
Have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Kelly. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consideration of resolution R2017-16, adopting the tentative budget and establishing an expenditure limitation for fiscal year June 30th, 2018. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have tonight is a quick presentation on the tentative budget. Before we get started, I would like to say that we have not, let me get it open here, not made any changes from when we last met on the recommended. So basically unchanged from that last presentation. Open the wrong one here.
There it is.
So for our fiscal year 2018 tentative budget totaling $48,524,686, we'll go through some slides and then we'll need a motion from the council to adopt a resolution accepting the tentative budget, which is required by the Arizona revised statutes. This is a slide just talking about our transparency. We've had our study sessions and budget town halls trying to get input from the public and make everyone aware of what we're planning for the budget. We've gone through the draft tentative, the changes. Tonight we're at the June 6th tentative budget adoption, which is required for us. This is a reminder of the council goals and priorities. Staff has made some presentations on a few of these goals and priorities to try and give the council and the general public more information about the items that we use when we're trying to determine what we're going to spend our money on and how we're going to build the budget. This is a comparison over the last 4 completed years and 17 and 18, what we've adopted for our budget expenditure limitation. This year, we're down slightly, and you'll notice the trend down the last couple of years, due largely in part to the completion of large projects. We completed the sewer treatment plant in fiscal year 16, so that's why the 17 number is down, and we also anticipate completing the public safety building in 17, so we're down even more in fiscal year 18. This slide gives a comparison of our budget estimates, what we've programmed to spend, and then what we've actually spent. In 17, the gap there is around 13 million. We expect that to probably grow a little bit more with project carryovers into fiscal year 18. This is a pie chart showing where our revenue sources are, operating revenues and beginning fund balance, or where most of our revenues come from for the budget. On the revenue side, this is just a follow-up with the actual numbers. For our beginning balance, that's savings from prior years. Our other financing sources is unanticipated. If we were to get a grant or unexpected revenues for a project, this is where we would conduct those transactions through the unanticipated. We have interfund transfers, and then we also have our operating, which is revenues that we collect during the business year. This is a breakdown of our operating revenue, where it comes from, and a lot of that comes through local and state shared taxes and revenues. And then we also have our utility fees and charges for services. And the utility fees, we expect that number to be 7.4 million. The water and wastewater making up the most of that. And then we have our sanitation, which is our contract with Waste Management for garbage disposal at the individual residences. For our local sales tax, which is a huge component in our budget, we've programmed in the budget 9.75 million, which is the same that we had programmed in fiscal year 2017. If you look at the third bar from the left for our 2017 estimate, we think we'll be well ahead of the 9.75 this year, and we anticipate similar for fiscal year 18, but we try to stay conservative when we're building the budget to give us room for any unforeseen issues as the fiscal year moves ahead. This chart is, or table is a breakdown of the state shared revenues. And again, we program that at 95% of the estimated dollars that we get from the state. And we just want to stay conservative and give ourselves some room for any unforeseen issues. And you can see that totals about $227,000 that we budget under what the state is estimating that we'll actually receive. This chart gives a history of the state shared revenues going back to fiscal year 2011. You can see a trend there forming down a little bit in 12 from 11, but each year since then it's grown. For fiscal year 17, we're estimating it'll be slightly less than 16. But those are just estimates. There's a chance that it'll come in a little better than what we've estimated. We've tried to remain conservative on our estimates as well. And then if you look at 18, you'll see that it's right there with the last couple of years. This is a breakdown of the intergovernmental revenue, which is typically going to be grants, but it's for activities that are grant related. Some of these will transpire throughout this year. Some of them are placeholders for future projects. Any new grants that we receive as part of this intergovernmental will come to the council for approval before they are accepted. Next, we'll take a look at the expenditures. Another pie chart here showing how the money is spent within the budget. And we like to see that capital number as one of our larger ones, and besides personnel, it'll be the second on the list. So capital and operations take up most of it, combined with personnel. This slide is the same slide that we had presented previously to the council, and it increases our full-time employees from 156.3 to 158.8. And I'll get into the details of that on the next slide, but this gives the council the data for what we're programming for the increase for employees, which is a 2% on the base pay, and then a potential one-time bonus depending on how the revenues come in around mid-year. Our Arizona State Retirement Systems is slightly changed, going from 11.48 to 11.50. And then, as you're aware, the significant changes to the public safety retirement plan totaling about $252,000. This shows the actual FTE positions and the trends there. You can see we're still down significantly from where we were in 2009, but up slightly from 2017. Let me back up. So there are two, sorry, backed out a little too far here. So the 2.5 positions that we're proposing in the budget, one is a full-time airport position, which is needed to keep up with all the activities going on there, to help with coverage and allowing people to take time off. And the second full-time is conditional depending on the level of activity at the public safety building. So that one won't start until we're well into the year and determine that position is needed based on foot traffic. And the third is a half-time position at the library. And if you look at their statistics, they're growing quite a bit each year, and they need an extra half person to keep up with the daily activities there. This is a breakdown of personnel by service area. And then this is a little more detail on how the capital is programmed within the budget. You can see that in streets and wastewater, we have in both close to $3.5 million in projects. So our public works folks will be very busy in the upcoming fiscal year. We also have $1.4 million in water planned. As a condition of the recent passing of the permanent base, we're required to have $1 million in reserve for general fund. And you can see from this slide that we have $3 million, which is triple what's legally required of the city. But we feel it's a good number to have 2 months at least of operating reserves if we have any issues. And we've, in this budget year, got wastewater up to 2 months. For the last couple of years, we've had water and general fund, but this year now, all three of the major funds have a couple months worth of reserves. We've also added $100,000 to the water treatment plant reserve in the event that the city decides to move ahead with the water treatment facility. Here's a look at our annual debt service. Gives you an idea of the outstanding debt that we have and the dollar amounts that are associated with those for the annual payments. Our total outstanding debt, with debt retiring in future years, you can see that trend is looking pretty good right now, but it just depends on what types of things we need and what type of funding we may need to go for in the future. This pie chart breaks down the expenditures by service area, with the utilities and public works taking up the bulk of that. And this expenditure slide is for general fund only. There are a lot of activities going on in the general fund, but the public safety takes up a large part of that. We also have the streets, airport, and the community services large contributors on that as well.
Could you back up a
Yes.
couple of slides to that graph on debt, where we are? I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah,
This
that
one?
one.
Okay.
At 20, we're 20 million approximately right now. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get that in my head.
We have the adoption of resolution R 2017-16 that we need for tonight. And then we advertise the final budget adoption and a public hearing in the paper for 2 weeks, beginning this Friday and then the following Friday, and then have the public hearing on June 20th. Following that up with the secondary property tax levy and public hearing on July 18th. That's all I have for you tonight. Mayor and council, any questions for me?
No, I don't have any. Appreciate the report on there. Any other questions of council? Councilmember Crittenden.
For the public, would you give a brief explanation of what the secondary property tax is?
Yeah, within the city of Shola, we don't have a standard property tax that you see in a lot of other cities, but we do have a secondary property tax, which is for the streetlight improvement district. On a home that's valued at $150,000, a resident will pay about $15 per year. So it's pretty minimal.
Any other questions, comments? I'll look for a motion. Councilwoman Kakavas.
First of all, I'd like to thank you and Carrie and staff for the great job that they've done in presenting our budget and putting together the numbers and trying to meet our goals and massaging the numbers. But I'd like to move to adopt resolution number R 2017-16, adopting the tentative budget and establishing this expenditure limitation for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018 in the amount of $48,524,686.
You have a motion, second by Councilmember Kelly.
Yeah, and I would also like to say thank you for presenting the budget in such a clear and understandable way. Thank you.
Definitely a group effort, so a lot of work that goes into it, so we do appreciate that.
And that was a second as well.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments or discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. Thank you.
Thanks.
At this time, the city council will recess into a special meeting of the Shola Bluff Community Facilities District Board to adopt the tentative budget for fiscal year 2017-18 for the district. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call a special meeting of the Shola Bluff Community Facility District Board to order by roll call. See that all board members are present at this time. This time, we have a consideration of resolution number R 2017-01, adopting the tentative budget and establishing the expenditure limit for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. We have a presentation for the board tonight of the tentative budget, and this is for the Shola Bluff Community Facilities District. Just a little bit of history on this. A special district was formed by the residents of Shola Bluff in 2005. It's a separate unit of government. The debt issued must be covered by the district's assessed value, and the benefit of the debt must be for the district, and these types of things are typically for infrastructure improvements. The total debt issued was $2.9 million, and the debt will officially be paid off in 2032. This is a history of the assessed valuations for the bluffs. You can see that the number was pretty good and dating back to fiscal year 2010, and then several years there, 5 years in double-digit losses as far as the valuation goes. But we're encouraged by the fact that we did see an increase. It was slight this year, but hopefully we've turned a corner here, and the valuations will continue to improve from this point forward. So there are two separate types of funds for the Shola Bluff CFD. We have the special assessment and the general obligation. The assessment bond was issued in 2007 for $2,014,000. We have an annual debt service payment of $153,900, and the Shola Bluff development owns about 56% of those properties. We also have unbudgeted reserve of $215,000. For the revenues, we have a beginning fund balance of $232,000, and our billing assessment is $135,985. We have twice a year payments in June, principal and interest, and in December, interest only. For the general obligation side, there were 2 debt issues, one for $480,000 in 2007 and one for $450,000 in 2011. And the tax rate is at 3.55. And the debt service, $3.25 of that is to cover debt service, and the 30 cents is for maintenance and operations, with an annual debt service of $94,600. We do have significant unbudgeted reserves in this account. Revenues for the general obligation, on the beginning fund balance, $579,000, and then property taxes annually at $47,000. That's all the information I have for the CFDs. We will have a final adoption and tax levy and a public hearing on June 20th, and it will be advertised in the paper for the next 2 consecutive Fridays.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Councilmember Kelly.
Would you please explain why we're able to hold the tax rate at 3.55 if that don't quite cut it?
The reserves allow us to be able to make that payment without collecting enough through taxes to make the debt service payment.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, City Manager.
That's a correct statement. However, the developer has agreed to make up the difference in what we get through the general or the tax assessment and the debt service. So our reserves will remain the same. He made the same commitment last year, and they did follow through on their commitment and paid the difference.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? I'll look, Councilmember Ossoff.
Yeah, I just went through there just a couple days ago, and there's definitely some new homes being built in there, so things are moving, so that's looking positive compared to where it was 3 or 4 years ago. So there's 3 or 4 new houses in there, so things are picking up.
Good.
There's been a lot of activity as far as phone calls calling for the payoffs of the assessments too. I think Carrie said we had received 8 calls in one day from a realtor, so we're getting a lot of inquiries as well, so.
Good.
Councilmember Kelly.
Well, just an observance of what the city manager pointed out. We're able to maintain the reserves that are there, and they are substantial percentage-wise, so that's good.
Yeah, I'll look for a motion. Make a motion. I move to adopt the resolution R2017-01, adopting the tentative budget and establishing the expenditure limitation for fiscal year 2018 at $280,300. There's second by Vice Board Member. Any other comments, questions? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. Next item we have is consideration of the minutes of the Shoal Bluff Community Facilities District Board meeting, special meeting of June 21st, 2016. Oh, no. Okay, that's right. I'm thinking here. Have a motion? You have a motion by Councilmember Leach, or Board Member Leach. Any other? Seconded by Board Member Kakavas. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. Seeing no other business on the Community Facilities District, I will adjourn that meeting and go back into our regular meeting of the Shoal City Council. Okay, this time we're back into regular meeting of the Shoal City Council. Look for items here of summary of current events. Look to council members for any current events they'd like to share. Councilmember Alsop.
Thank you, Mayor. just want to let, there was a lot of stuff going on this weekend in the city of Show Low. And if anybody missed anything, then they had to be away from city of Show Low because there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm hoping everybody had a great time. Farmers Market and Art Walk is doing great this year and it's just growing and growing. There's a couple of spaces available, but you're going to have to contact Diana North if you want to participate in that. But everything's going great. We're having a great time out there. And for the 8th year, it's amazing what it can do. And I want to give birthday wishes to Mr. Mooter. Thank you, Mayor.
We was singing happy birthday, but we've been sworn not to do that, so.
You didn't tell me anything about that.
There.
I'm sure
Any
he
other
appreciates you.
summary of events?
How old is Mr. Mooter now?
Holding,
I think he's
50 or 60?
660.
60 today.
60, okay.
I have a corn medal.
Everybody's entitled to one question. We could roast him right now, maybe. It's not on the agenda,
move
so I
on.
can't. There. Any other summary of events?
Well, his birthday's quite the event. Why
That is,
can't we
that
talk
is.
about it?
All right. This time I'll turn the time to city manager for his report.
Thank you. Just a few things to report here. This is the final week for this year's Project Clean Sweep. We have bulky item pickup this week on your regularly scheduled trash day. That means Monday and Tuesday's already been picked up, but those scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday can still put items out on the curb and the city crews will pick those up. Now through Saturday, residents can haul debris free of charge to the Lone Pine Transfer Station, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You'll need to remember to have your proof of residency at the transfer station, either a city utility statement or showing current refuse service or a valid driver's license listing a physical address. And if you need more information on that program, 532-4100. As most people are aware, ADOT is widening US 60 east of Show Low between State Route 77 and 40th Street. They'll add another lane in each direction and add a center turn lane along that stretch of the highway. The normal working hours are Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And US 60 will be narrowed to one lane only, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And there could be delays up to 30 minutes. There are no restrictions during evening hours or weekends, and access to local businesses will be maintained during its construction. On our city website, we do have a link to ADOT's latest information. If you go to showloaz.gov and you can go to that link and get the update on that project. The citywide slurry selling project will begin next Tuesday, June 13th. We are posting to our website the project schedule listing the streets selected for this year's project. And if you're interested to see if your area is involved in that, look at the website. There will be door hangers. The slurry cell crew will give notices to the neighborhoods as they move through the different city streets. And you can learn about law enforcement at the police department's annual Citizens Academy every Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. between July 5th and September 13th. So they're starting a new session of that Citizens Academy. The applications are due by Friday, June 30th. Classes will be held at the new Public Safety Buildings Community Room at 411 East Doosa Clubs. And you can visit the city's website and get an application and detailed information about the Citizens Academy should you want to attend that. And finally, we're selling tickets at City Hall for the June 24th concert by country western singer Billy Dean. The tickets are $15 each, and showtime is at 7:30 p.m. on June 24th at the Show Low School District Auditorium. And for more information on those tickets, 532-4140. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other scheduling of meetings? Any meetings need to be scheduled? Part of this meeting tonight, we're in a study session, and we recessed that study session. So we're going to go back into that study session prior to going to executive session. But I do need a motion to go into executive session following the study session. In executive session, we'll be discussing a Green Hills Patient Center conditional use permit, as well as intergovernmental agreement with the Northeastern Regional Dispatch Center. Have a motion? Have a motion by Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilmember Kakavas. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? See that passed 7-0. This time we will recess our open meeting and back into our study session.